All right. Hi. So Mike Chungwith here again with the amazing Melissa Shim, senior animator at Sony Santa Monica.
Hi.
How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So we got a few questions,
Oh, okay.
and then we'll see where we go from there.
Sure.
So question number one: what inspired you to get into animation?
So I've always been into drawing and cartoons when I was growing up. And then as a teenager, I saw Reboot, old show by Mainframe, and Beast Wars came out. And I was like, oh, 3D is a thing. And Toy Story was coming out at the same time. And then I met another girl in my high school who was doing like a week kind of workshop at this local art school. So I did that for like the following year, and I was like, oh, you can study this. So took that up. Thought I'd end up in television, but ended up in games instead. So
Yeah. That's awesome. And how long have you been doing this now for?
It's been since 2002. So this is my 15th, 16th year now in games.
That's awesome.
Flies by.
So in those 15 or 16 years, what do you feel like you hope to accomplish with your work? What do you try to set out to achieve with it?
It's mainly just to entertain, right? Like, give the fans what they want. I'm the last 5-8 years now. I'm getting more into projects that have more character. So I'm hoping to develop my skills better in order to bring character to my animation, and because I've mostly done mechanical kind of animation with sports games and combat stuff. So I'm hoping, especially with God of War, that I've managed to bring more character and personality into that work. And hopefully I'm working efficiently for my company and just bringing some wow moments to the screen. So.
Yeah, well, God of War certainly will be nothing but a bunch of wow moments, I am sure.
Yeah.
So what are your what are your favorite bits of game animation that you feel like have caused that, you to feel that way?
I've been trying to think of an answer for that for the last few days, and I can't name any specific animations, but I've been heavily influenced by a lot of Riot stuff, Blizzard stuff. I grew up playing World of Warcraft and the original Warcraft and StarCraft. Stuff from Motiga, all the giant stuff, stylized, snappy animation. I look at film as well. Look at combat movies, and so I can't say any one specific thing, but I'm looking for inspiration everywhere. Ninja Theory, Sony, even before I got to Sony. So
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest difference from what animators are doing now versus when you first started out?
I think the way they teach now, I think that's a big change in growth. Most of the kind of animation theory I learned was from my 2D instructors, and my 3D instructors weren't necessarily animation or animators. They were more 3D artists, and they were teaching the software more. So a lot of what I learned was from the 2D guys, and then from being on the job. And now I'm seeing all these online schools and this initiative and everything, and it's really pushing the boundaries a lot more. So I think for me that's the biggest change in the industry, and obviously the tech's getting really crazy, as we just saw.
That stuff is nuts.
Yeah.
So you've worked internationally a good bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So you originally from
Vancouver.
From Vancouver.
Yeah.
And then where else have you worked?
I worked in Copenhagen for just under 2.5 years. IO Interactive, and then went back to Vancouver for a few years, and then ended up down here about almost 2.5 years ago as well. So,
okay.
So 3 countries, 3 cities. So, yeah.
Do you feel because I've worked a bunch of different places within the States, and it seems like each studio sort of has their own approach, but have you felt like maybe different countries have different approaches to sort of workflows or thought process with stuff that you've sort of adapted into your own work?
I've noticed the biggest thing is probably the work-life balancing. Europe or Denmark anyway definitely pushes the life stuff a bit more versus Canada and America. But every studio seems to function very differently. Every team even within a studio functions very differently. So I'm sure, like, yeah, the country, the culture of the country has a huge effect on that. Like Denmark, especially, like doing overtime was hard to enforce there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, like in the North American studios, it seems to be a bit more of the norm that's built into the lifestyle. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What would be something that you feel like you would tell somebody, like say there's somebody on the chat who wants to get into doing this? What would you tell them?
Like they said earlier, do the work and get in. No. Yeah. If you're looking for animation specifically, I guess, find what inspires you. Find a good instructor or school. Like, do your research, definitely. Know what they're going to teach you. Know what you want to do. Like, is it game cinematics? Is it gameplay? What type of game do you want to work on? And tailor your reel, as we mentioned, like towards that goal, right? So whether it's a studio you want to work for or like a style you want to go to. So a lot of research, a lot of practice, definitely. Network, be a nice person, and reach out to any of these guys and ask a lot of questions. Don't be afraid to fail. That's another big thing. It's like we're all works in progress and stuff like that. So even 5 years, 15 years, 20 years, there are going to be failures. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Melissa, thank you so much.
Cool.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, this is great. I'm glad to have you here. You've also been taking amazing pictures. Are you going to put those up anywhere?
I'm going to send them to you, and you can probably distribute them as you like. So when I get back to LA, I'll work on them and get in touch.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
So next up on the schedule, we have Keyframe of the Mind Live. Keyframe of the Mind is a podcast by 4 fantastic animators, and we're going to get to see them essentially record that live in person. Now, it is easily one of the most honest and heartfelt group of people talking in these conversations I love. So without further ado, take it away.